People who unknowingly saved someone's life. How'd you do it? I was working the closing shift at the diner that night. It was one of those slow Wednesdays where the only people coming in were truckers or night shift nurses grabbing coffee to go. I was tired and mad because the fryer was acting up again, and my boss kept saying he'd fix it but never did. It was almost 11 when this kid walked in. Couldn't have been older than 17. Hoodie pulled up, backpack hanging off one shoulder, shoes covered in mud. He looked out of place. Not a trucker, not a nurse. He didn't even look like he had money for food. He sat in the far booth, didn't order, just sat there staring out the window like he was waiting for something. After 5 minutes, I walked over with a menu. You want something to drink? I asked. He mumbled, just water. I brought it, and when I set the glass down, I noticed his hands were shaking. Not like jittery from coffee, like shaking bad. His eyes were red too. I thought maybe drugs at first, or he'd been crying. I tried not to pry. I went back behind the counter, wiped things down, refilled ketchup bottles. But every time I glanced over, he was still just sitting there, gripping that water glass like it was the only thing holding him in place. After 20 minutes, I said screw it. I grabbed a plate, filled it with fries, and set it down in front of him. On the house, I said. He blinked at me like he didn't understand. Then he whispered, why? I shrugged. Because they'll just go to waste otherwise. That wasn't even true. But I didn't want him to feel like a charity case. He didn't touch the fries at first, just stared at them. Then finally, he picked one up and ate it. After a few bites, his shoulders dropped a little, like he'd been holding his breath all night. I went to pour coffee for one of the regulars. When I came back, he was crying. Not loud, just silent tears running down his face. I slid into the booth across from him. You okay? I asked. He shook his head. Then he said something I'll never forget. I wasn't planning on making it past tonight. I froze. I didn't know what to say. My chest felt tight, like all the air had been sucked out of the room. He kept talking though. Said he'd left home earlier that day after another fight with his dad. Said he'd been walking around town for hours with a bottle of pills in his backpack. Said he came into the diner because he wanted somewhere warm to sit before he did it. I was 22 at the time, not trained for this. Just some broke server trying to pay rent. I didn't know how to handle a kid telling me he wanted to die. The only thing I could think of was to keep him talking. So I asked his name. He said, Ethan. I asked what music he liked. He said, Old Green Day, I guess. I told him about the time my brother tried to start a band and blew out our mom's speakers. He actually laughed at that, even though it was short. I stayed in that booth until closing. My boss didn't even yell at me for slacking, which was a miracle. Ethan ate every fry on the plate. He told me more about school, how he hated it, how he felt invisible. He said nobody would miss him. I told him I would. I don't even know why I said that, but I meant it. When it was almost midnight, I asked if there was someone I could call for him. He hesitated, then gave me his older sister's number. I dialed it on the diner phone, and when she picked up, she sounded half panicked, half relieved. She came in 20 minutes later, still in her pajamas. The second she saw him, she hugged him so tight I thought he'd suffocate. She mouthed thank you to me over his shoulder. I just nodded. I didn't feel like I'd done much. I just gave him fries and sat with him. A week later, he came back. Same hoodie, same backpack. This time he ordered a burger and actually paid for it. He smiled when I brought it over. Real smile, not the broken one from before. That's the last time I ever saw him. 3 years later, I got a letter at the diner. No return address, just my name. Inside was a piece of notebook paper with messy handwriting. It said, you don't remember me, but I remember you. You gave me fries when I hadn't eaten in 2 days. You sat with me when I didn't think anyone cared. That night I went home instead of the bridge. I'm still here because of you. And that was it. No signature, nothing else. Just